Hello, everyone. This is Group 23. My name is Donovan Bullock.
I'm Abby Morgan.
I'm Genesis Ramirez.
I'm Aiden Kemple.
I'm Jade Couch.
And I'm Abigail Tatum.
Cool.
Cool, all right.
Okay, so do we want to start off by going over what makes an objective theory a good objective theory?
You know what, Mrs. Jade? I think that is a great idea. That's a great idea because honestly, when we start off like this final exam in this class, we got to think of the two first things that we learn, and all of the theories can either be placed as an objective theory or interpretive theory. So the importance of knowing the objective and interpretive theory is very, very important. So let's start off with the objective theory. Everyone, what do you think? Let's go around. What do you think when you think of objective theories?
I think about go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
I think about kind of like a scientific method, like yeah, actually getting the answers, like getting down to the the nitty gritty stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Qualitative data.
Critical thinking. What is it? There was prediction. I'm going to try to do it without looking. Prediction. Testable hypothesis. You just said it.
Qualitative.
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 Simplicity. Is that one of them?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm looking. Explanation. And then practical utility, but we don't really care about that one. Yeah.
All right, what do you guys think about objective? Like when you look at a theory, you read everything about the theory either in the smart book or in the lecture. How would you classify it as an objective theory? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I just like how it's testable and you can really see if the theory actually works or not. There's like a definite answer.
Seeing both sides.
Seeing both sides. Okay. Well, I agree with all of you. You know, when I think of an objective theory, and if I want to like try to look at a theory to put it as an objective or interpretive, I guess you can see if it's like, you know, if you can explain it, if it's like kind of like a test, like it's like not like as complex, but it's like kind of like scientific. I think of like scientists and yeah. So like a hypothesis and stuff. So yeah.
So an example would be, not like of an actual theory, but would be one where they conduct like, not, interpretive would be the one where they do like surveys and stuff, right? So objective would be more like statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard facts.
Hard facts
and
So I guess the importance of like knowing the objective and interpretive theory, because it's been since unit 1, and every single thing that we learn in this class, if it's a theory afterwards, can be labeled as an objective and interpretive. So it's very important to know the difference between the two and to be able to classify what theory between the two. So yeah. Interpretive theory. Let's go around.
Values, creates a new understanding of people, has aesthetic appeal, community of agreement, and reform of society. That's what makes a strong interpretive theory.
Yeah, I guess what shouts out to me is that the understanding of people, it's more personal based, like I guess individualistic based, and like it helps people, and it helps to understand the person instead of like the rules and like more scientific.
yeah, I think interpretive theory definitely has a lot more to do with just generally how we think of like how a community thinks, how like whole groups. It might not be as provable as an objective theory. You can't necessarily put it through the paces like that, but there's generally like one of the qualifications is a community of agreement, and I think that's like a really big proving way, because it's just like you can go up to someone on the street and ask, do you think this way? And they'll be like, yeah, I generally think that's how people are. And I think that's what that definition, community of agreement, goes into, and I think that's a huge part of interpretive theories.
I agree. The community agreement and the I guess the complexity of it, because like people like understanding the mind of someone is like very, very like hard to do, complex. And I feel like an objective theory is also a goal to understand, but like a different way in understanding than interpretive. Interpretive more like, I guess, the aesthetic appeal, like they said, and then community agreement. So I agree, very important part of an interpretive theory.
Okay. Does anyone want to start off with their favorite theory?
Guess I can start. One of my favorites that we covered in the second half of this semester is face work. I think is super cool. Just because it deals with like such a broad spectrum of people, and it really like predicts how communications are going to go between like majorly different cultures. So like looking at a more like Western view where you've got Europeans and Americans and those cultures which are all highly individualistic. You got places like China and Japan where it's really collectivistic are the two different kinds. Individualistic obviously meaning that the culture is more centered around like the self compared to everyone, and then collectivistic is more about the whole population as everything. And I don't know about you guys, but a saying I heard a lot growing up was like saving face. Y'all ever heard that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, so like when we got into this theory, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, I kind of know about this, hearing about just like that, because saving face was always like, you made a little bit of a mistake and now you got to retrace your steps to kind of like get your honor back, which is something that the book talks about. In my notes here, that's face concern, I guess, be under like that saying of saving face, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, I like that you talked about the individualistic and collectivistic culture. So I would say, let's put that to example, because we're in this class, so we can use these theories out in the real world. So what do you guys think? We can go around the circle. What do you think the United States, would y'all say the United States is more of an individualistic or collective?
Individualistic. For
I would
sure.
say individualistic too.
Why would you guys say individualistic? Well, actually, let's go around and what would you say, Ed?
So my first example of like how we are an individualistic culture would definitely be just like how we communicate ourselves and make sure like being unique is a huge part of our culture rather than fitting in. So like your style and like your fashion, like how you dress and carry yourself can be wildly different, and that's very accepted. It's like not out of the cultural norms, I'd say, to be unique. And yeah, what about y'all?
I agree. I feel like it's definitely encouraged, and like there's a lot of emphasis on people not conforming and doing their own thing, and it's like, yeah, you go, you do that, rather than like they're like, no, it needs to be by the book, we need to all be the same, conform. Like some other countries out there who are still like very collectivistic, it's like frowned upon and like forbidden to do. Like
Can you give
what we
us
would consider
an
normal.
example of like a country that has like one of those boundaries where it's something that's forbidden to do because it is too like unique?
The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head is kind of dark, but like China, how like back then they had like the one child rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like you couldn't have more than one kid or else.
And I think that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
to put like that much, like that is your life. Like that is like
Exactly, and it was just like everyone had to conform to that, and everyone had to like approach like their family in the exact same way. Whereas like here, it's like you're free to do whatever you want.
Have as many
I mean,
kids as
limited,
you want.
One thing
Some
that
people abuse of that.
Some people are tough. No, but it's just crazy seeing the difference. Like how, I don't know, like we're all people, but it's like just based on location. How it's like, how
How we're
different.
treated.
Yeah.
I had a thought just sitting here like just now that's really cool is like inside of the United States, which is an individualistic culture, there is like you can have collectivist cultures.
that's what I was saying.
Like the first thing that pops to mind that I was thinking of is like the Amish That is for
Oh,
sure a
yeah.
collectivist culture
Yeah.
inside the United States, which is crazy.
Mhm.
Just like the cultural norms of, you know, wear plain clothes, you don't, I know things are starting to get more and more integrated, but like you don't use outside technology. Everybody like works together in these big families, and it's like, that's super cool how it's, even in places where it may be one thing, you have these pockets. Or it's, I'm sure there's inside of collectivistic cultures, there's got to be groups of individualistic stuff because it's just
Yeah.
everything is a mesh and a blend.
I was also thinking like Catholic school. Like everyone's got to wear the uniform, everyone's got to act a certain
Yeah.
way. So it's like
Yeah,
that
religion plays a
collectivistic
big
within.
part in like whether you're collectivist or individualist.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing, like just religion in general.
Yeah.
There's ones that think like, oh, if like salvation is like it's based on you and not like your whole family. But then there's religions that think that like one person in the family does the good per se, then everyone's like good.
So with that theory, that was like the collectivistic and individualistic. I remember her saying that was the original.
Yeah, that's what face work is like entirely based off, or
Mhm.
face negotiation, excuse me.
And then like the revised theory was how like, because I remember her saying a lot of the, like when they performed the surveys or experiments, whatever they did, how like some of the qualities of some started leading to like countries when they would do the test, it would be like, oh, these countries that we thought were like collectivistic are like answering these questions more individualistic or vice versa, whatever.
Yeah.
So then that led to the revised theory of avoidance, integration, and dominance. So is it like that the original one is wrong?
Well, I think that, like I said, it's hard to generalize people into either
Yeah.
individualistic or collectivist.
Collectivist.
Yeah, collectivistic culture. It's hard to like generalize people into like either one of those. So I think that it's not that the other one was wrong. I think that's like kind of like step one, and then the theory, what was
With avoidance, integration, and dominance.
the avoidance, integration, and dominance? I think that is like step two and like a more branch to
Like,
cover
is this
more.
theory interpretive or objective?
Mm.
Oh, I think this one's like hard objective if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because it step by step goes through, that has all the scientific and qualitative data that leads through, and then it has like hard predictions, because the whole thing about face negotiation is predicting how these different cultures are going to communicate with each other, because it's all about how you present your face, and faces, I think I have it here in my notes. Yeah, it's how you project an image of oneself in relation to a situation. So it's just like, you know, you'll present a different face to your friend group than compared to like a business meeting or something, or even how we're presenting our faces in this recording right now is entirely different from how it was like before we started doing this recording, which is really funny. But then yeah.
Okay, well, speaking about like communicating and like the different, you know, how we talk to different people differently. So looking at the critical theory of communications and organizations, what do y'all think about that? Like, are y'all confused about that theory? What do y'all?
About which one?
The critical theory of communication in organizations. Are you confused? Are you?
That sounds like critical thinking.
Could you give me like a quick refresher on the basics
Yeah.
of that? Because I think it's been a couple
Is that
weeks
the one
since
that
we did that
goes
one.
with ELM? Elaboration, likelihood model.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, because I was. Oh wait, no, it's not.
Oh, never mind.
Here.
All right. Well, I'm confused about that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead. Give us a
Okay.
refresher on
So
that.
basically, the critical theory of communication in organizations is basically all in the name. It's basically how organizations communicate inside of the organization. So basically, like the involvement of the workers, the participation of the workers, and the basically the employee-employer relationship. And basically, it talks about the strategies and like the how management is able to control. It's not, it uses the word control, but I like, you know, like communicate with employees
That one has a lot to do with like the different power dynamics
It
and
does,
like how
yeah.
things will get dealt with in certain situations, and it's yeah, I think this is a really important
It's very-
chapter for sure.
Definitely very important. And then it also goes into the Dietz model of communication. Does anybody remember the Dietz
Yeah.
model?
Oh wait, I don't remember if this is the Dietz model or just the communication model. Is that the same thing?
Well,
Or is like, go ahead.
the Dietz model of communication is a communication, basically saying that communication is merely the transmission of information, which perpetuates managerialism and the corporate colonization of everyday life. So, basically saying that, I guess the control is in the management, and basically like saying like, you know, I guess the employee to employer relationship is basically what the whole theory is about. Yeah.
I remember with that one, I thought I didn't have it in my notes for speak, but I found it. This is the one that had the communication model, where it was like, on the top, it was information model and dialogue model, and then on the side, it was managerial control and co-determination. And the managerial control was like, because I remember we did this with one of the group work things, and we were talking about Becker.
Yeah.
Becker
Oh,
theory.
Yeah, the Becker
Jeffries
theory.
and-
Yeah. And so managerial control is like, all of the power is in the bosses,
Yeah.
but then it breaks off into the information model and dialogue model. So it was like, if it was information model, that was when it was like strictly just the boss and he doesn't listen to anyone else's opinion.
Mhm.
And then, so that would be strategy here. I have my little chart.
Oh.
So that would be strategy.
Mhm.
And then if like the boss, like it's still completely in control, it would be consent if they like listen to the opinions of, like they let everyone share their opinions, but didn't like ultimately it was still up to, final decision was still up to them. And then co-determination is when it's more of like a group.
Yeah, when it's more like a democracy, everybody really has a say on what
Exactly.
and that's like I think the ultimate goal of like how a company should be run. Or like managerialism is definitely the big evil that I think
Yeah. The
a
corporate
lot of corporate
corporate
places are
America.
dealing with right now, and it's
So I guess my question to y'all is, you know, to again put it into the real world, like the theory to the real world. Have y'all ever been in a job where it's like the managerial control was like very heavy and there wasn't a lot of co-determination? And if you have, did you use like a theory, I guess, to help you guys, you know, escape that situation other than just quitting?
I had a job. Did I use this last time? The job at the pizza place?
I mean, yeah, but in
No.
theory, many theories can be used in the real world.
Yeah. So working at that steak pizza place, and there was not a lot of employees like at all. It was the main boss, his wife, and then like 3 of us, and we were all girls. And I didn't really use anything other than quitting. I was like,
Well, that's okay.
I'm out of here. But it definitely, all of the power was in this man. And it didn't help because he was not good at communicating at all.
Should have taken
And-
the class.
Right? That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Mr. Steve, man.
Yeah.
And he would have like maintenance people come in to like fix like the fridges and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he would go and like hide in the back room, like in the freezer, and like make us talk like to this guy and like sign off on like papers and stuff. And we were like, what are you
so
doing?
that's like avoidance is the strategy.
Yeah.
Avoidance
Yeah.
was like if he wasn't around, somebody would
Exactly,
have to
but
deal
then at
with
the same time, it was like, listen, we think it should be going this way. Like we think this would help, and he was like, no,
I
you
was
listen to
trying
what
to
I'm
use
saying.
co-determination.
Yeah,
Didn't
exactly.
work.
Like we would kind of like gathered a little powwow, and we're like, we need to take a stand. Like we need to do something about this. And so we tried, and then he was like, mm-mm. And then we were like, okay, bye. So we did try actually instead of just quitting.
Yeah, so y'all did. Y'all
I guess
tried
so.
to use a little
What did y'all do?
co-determination.
What did we do? We quit.
But like before you said you tried.
Oh, we
did
tried.
y'all talk to him?
We tried, yeah, because his wife was like the what is it? It's like manager. and-
Co-manager.
Like co-manager, yeah.
Co-manager.
And but she didn't really speak English very well. So like there are people that would like come in and like order pizza and like stuff like that and have questions, and she like wouldn't know how to communicate with them either. And we were like, okay, so we need someone else who's going to be like another manager, because he also had a store in Garner, and so he was only with us half the time, and his wife like was not really useful to us. So we were like, okay, can one of us like step up and become like co-manager? And like since we're already like signing off on stuff, like why can't we just like put our ideas in? Like we know how we can make this company run like smoother, because this sucks. And they were just like, nope, we're fine the way we are. We're gonna keep doing it how we're doing it, and if you don't like it, sucks for you, deal with it. And we're like, if I don't like it, I'm leaving. So we left.
Yeah.
I think that's how when when bosses and employees aren't really dialed in communication, or don't have the knowledge of communication theories like the co-determination and managerial control, stuff can lead to very bad instances. I actually have an example too, which I think that this theory, I know it says like the critical communication theory in organizations, but you also have to think that education is an organization too. Like this school system is an organization. So I feel like it can be used a lot. You good? Okay. I think the theory can be used a lot like in the school system and stuff because like I guess the
He's dying over there.
He's good. He's just hacking off.
He's good. Okay.
He just has a cough.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a cough. Okay, but like I was saying, I think that the teacher. Okay.
Sorry.
Everybody's good. All right. So what I think is that the teacher and employee. Oh my gosh, the teacher-student relationship is what I'm trying to get to. Can be a lot of managerial control and co-determinationism. Because I've been in a lot of classrooms where the teacher would just pile on worksheet after worksheet after worksheet after worksheet and won't actually get up there and teach and actually connect with the students. So I believe that if, I know it's a critical theory of communications and organizations, but I feel like it can be used in the school system and also the corporate world,
Sure.
And I think even in the school system, it might be worse because the teachers have ultimate power, I feel like, and they can misuse it very, very fast. Like, I was in French class one time in high school. One of the worst classes in my entire life. And it's because the teacher had the managerial control, there was no balance. It was just her. She was the manager of the whole class, just her. And she would just assign these crazy assignments and would not teach at all, would just give us stuff to do, didn't even have a lesson plan, would come in and say, what do y'all want to like? It was just crazy. And then I guess the way that I fixed it, I guess avoidance, like COVID hit, and then I was online, and then that was that. Yeah.
I remember Professor Goodwin talking about it, and she asked us the question. She was like thinking of the classroom, like, how much say do you guys have in what our lesson plan is? And like thinking
She
about
was
it,
like, none.
yeah,
She was like,
It's
I'm
me.
the boss.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I feel like classes are a lot more fun when we do have a say, because it's like we're not doing
What you trying to say?
nothing, just in general.
Yeah.
Like when we have a say and we get to like
Well,
when
this
it's like
is
a
our
lot more
way of, like,
participation.
This is our way, I guess,
Learning.
of like having a say is talking in a group
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Oh,
doing
I
this
do like
assignment,
about
I
that.
guess.
Yeah, kind of like how she put that survey up there. Like, how do
Yeah.
you think this class would run smoother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I think like one person being in control does make things run smoother.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The problem, I
'Cause
guess,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. The problem for me, again, like with my French class example in high school, wasn't where the control was. It was how it was being controlled. Like the low effort, like no effort, no care, no like time put in to connect with the students and actually teach the students. It was just, she was angry at us and she treated us like an angry mother. Like she was trying to,
I don't
Like,
like
it-
teachers like that.
it was crazy. And I've never seen a grown woman argue with so many minors in my life. It's ridiculous. But, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass.
I don't know.
That's
though.
bad. That's a bad
Public
example
school.
of
Public
how to use
school. You go to
it.
public school?
Yes, very
Yep.
public.
That-
Very
Oh,
public.
yeah.
So do we think that overall is interpretive or objective? This theory.
I don't remember from the book, but personally, it sounds more objective because it predicts how that relationship between the lower class workers and the management goes, right?
Yeah, I think it's objective too.
Does anybody have any arguments for why it would be interpretive?
I
Could go both ways.
forget why. It is interpretive.
Okay.
Ah,
But-
hey.
So I'm wrong.
I think it's more of. Actually, just kidding. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
You don't know if is it interpretive?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess like not saying that the book is wrong or anything. I'm
It
just saying.
also, it does say that like one of the weaknesses of it is it lacks strong evidence. So that could be why
That
it's
could
like
be
more misleading, because the evidence is obviously very important, but it's more like a because this is completely like determinant on the organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's never like really a set answer.
Mhm.
It's just kind of like upon the basis of each organization. But I will double check for you.
Yeah.
What chapter is that number wise? You know?
No clue. But while you're checking, I was just thinking that the reason I thought that it was objective, I guess, is because I guess like it's looking at the two different things and I guess kind of testing and predicting which one would be which for which organization that you're in.
That's why I thought it would be objective, but
Yeah,
guess
that's
we're
why I
wrong.
that's why I thought it would be objective. So somebody can give me a good reason for it interpretive because I'm pretty bamboozled right now.
Well, I mean, it sounds like something that it would have a good community of agreement, right? So you go and
Yeah.
ask most people at workplaces, you know, do you think this is how this works? I feel like most people would say yes. It does, I guess, in that sense, then go off of more feeling compared to like actual qualitative data that's been collected.
That is true. That is a good point.
So you can just go off of that. What else is there? It's got aesthetic appeal, as in like it's fairly like you can look at it. It goes over a pretty complex relationship and the different ways that it reasons for it, and then it does call for social change. So
And it has a strong, I don't know if you said this already and if I just wasn't listening because I was looking, but it provides a good like new understanding of people, like
Yeah.
in the corporations and corporate managers and all
yeah,
of that.
exactly.
Yeah, that's valid.
Very valid. And you know what? After you guys explained all of that, I think my knowledge of interpretive theory has grown, and I think I very much understand why it is an interpretive theory.
yes.
So I appreciate that, guys.
Mm.
Of course.
Great work.
I just think that's why the critique section is always so good, because at first like the smart book questions don't go into the critique theory, so I never really like focus on them as much, but that's where you can tell like really if you're struggling, because I am very bad at determining whether it's a theory is objective or interpretive.
Oh yeah, same here.
So like it goes over, and it's
like
like
I have to think about it. I'm like,
Exactly. it's like it is strong in this, this, and this, and I'm like, oh, but this, and this, that are like those are like the factors of interpretive theory. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
interpretive. But then some of them, there was one in this chapter or this second half, that I couldn't tell because it was like it tried to be this theory, but it was like had more of the qualities of interpretive or objective. I'm not really sure. Let me search. But I was confused, and then I was gonna ask her in class, but then I forgot to ask her in class.
Oh, were you talking about the one that said in the smart book? It was like it had like it could be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
that's
had that in
one.
my notes
Yeah.
actually. Because I saw in the smart book, I was like, oh, so is
Wait a
it this
minute.
or is it like I'm confused?
That's one of my favorite like things I guess we've done in our last presentation, and this one is like have arguments for whether or not a theory is objective.
Yeah.
Or,
I think it was cultivation theory.
cultivation theory is a good one.
You want to talk about it? I don't really know.
I think cultivation theory is very interesting because I love TV and
Yeah,
media. That's why I'm
Yeah.
doing this major. So I guess a little icebreaker before we go into cultivation theory, because it's all about like I guess how the media changes us and shapes us. What is everybody's favorite TV show?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
And then we can use the theory. We can use the theory to like talk about
There
the
you
TV
go, there you
shows.
go.
Alright.
Friends.
Friends.
You can go over. Let me think.
You over first.
Probably Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Okay.
Good one.
Thank you.
I gotta think right now. I've been rewatching. Y'all ever seen Community before? It's a show about a bunch of
I
people in
have seen
community college.
Community. It's
That's a
very
funny
good.
one.
Very
I've
funny.
That
never
and, like,
heard of it.
Breaking
Sounds
Bad
good.
right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with The Office.
The Office.
That
was
Okay.
my second
It's a
choice.
classic.
Those
Okay.
are both comfort shows.
Well, taking all those shows and looking at the theory, I guess the theories it got about like
What's yours?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It used to be Grace, but I finished it off. So right now I've been watching El Chapo.
Ooh.
So kind of like Narcos.
Narcos. Yeah, very cool. Well, before I guess we apply the theory to the TV shows that we just named, Aiden, do you want to explain the theory first?
So cultivation theory.
Yeah.
I didn't take a ton of notes on this one beforehand, but cultivation theory deals a lot with how different mediums affect our communication, I guess. So that's like the big phrase that we used a lot during that chapter was the medium is the message, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like
I think that was the next
Oh
one.
yeah, that was
What was
the
the-
media.
that
That was
was
media
media
in
college.
college.
that's media college.
See, that's-
Okay.
That's good. Where
Because they go so hand in
They
hand.
They do
with
go
both
hand
of
in
them.
hand.
I
Like-
think cultivation theory was more like break down the question of like what is the effect of media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
how does
focus
Yeah, I
like
have that written
How
down.
it affects
Yeah.
us.
what
Yeah,
on-
so that's the
like
one.
how
Like
it
content.
influences you.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
focus
what's
more
on
on the
TV.
content rather than
What like yeah. So okay. So a
the
good.
actual media.
I'm glad you said this because it's helping me too, like remember. So what I think about it is I feel like cultivation theory is what is on a TV, and media ecology is more like the box.
The fact
of
that there
the
is a
actual
TV.
like the actual TV.
Okay.
So like media ecology is the box. Well, it used to be a box before a flat screen, but the media ecology is like the box of the TV, and cultivation theory is what's on the TV.
So is that the one where you've got analysis of like what the corporation is trying to do through
Yes,
the
yes.
media?
It's like you have the institutional. I think what you're saying is the institutional process analysis.
Yeah.
And then the message system analysis. Those two basically all fit into cultivation theory, and basically like the violence shown on TV and like how the violence or whatever shown on TV affects like the youth and like pretty much anyone watching and who's watching it. And
Okay, so that's like where you get the mean world view, where it's like
Yes.
people who have the what is it? The longer time they spend on the so it's like 4 hours plus.
Yeah.
Heavy
Mhm.
viewers.
Heavy
Yeah,
viewers.
that's what
it's
it's
a
heavy
heavy
view.
viewers.
That's right.
And is the theory like exclusive to only TV or just media in general? Like
It's all media, I believe,
I
right?
believe it's
Yeah.
all media.
So like if
That was
you're
one of our defensibles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I believe that going into like what all y'all said about like y'all's favorite show, putting like y'all's favorite show to the theory, I didn't hear like a lot of violent like shoot 'em up, kill 'em type
El
shows.
Chapo has
Okay.
a lot of violence.
Well, El Chapo
It's-
does have a
it's
lot of
like
violence.
killing.
Okay,
killing.
I forgot.
Breaking Bad.
So, do you think Genesis? Do you think that watching that show has it affected you in any way? Like, do you see yourself getting more angry, punching walls?
Are you more paranoid?
Are you more paranoid that you like someone's gonna stab you or do El Chapo type things? I don't know.
I'm not like paranoid or anything like that, but like while watching it, like whenever there is some type of like action, I do feel like a rush of like adrenaline, I guess. Like yeah.
I feel like
Beat
there's
'em
shows
up.
like that. Like there's a show that I'm also watching. I was gonna say was debating between Grey's and that. It's called In the Dark. It's like it's so good.
It's so good.
Where there's a lot of violence and it's a lot of like gang related stuff. And I watch it and I'm like, I'm not, it's not necessarily like, definitely a heavy watcher, but I'm not necessarily like, oh my gosh, like everyone in the world, like he's a cop, she's a cop, like oh my
Yeah.
gosh, violence everywhere. But it makes me think, like, I am like, wow, like,
It-
this stuff
yeah.
goes on in the world.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, it's real.
Kind of makes you more aware.
Yeah. But it's,
Aware of
like,
your
not
surroundings.
necessarily, like, I don't, like, go out of my house and I'm like,
Yeah.
paranoid. Like,
Everywhere.
yeah. But,
I understand. So I guess when you're going to like the message system analysis of it, like the message isn't the one that's like corrupting. Like it's not corrupting you as people. So yeah.
No,
It's
for
a
like
message.
example, right now, what's that show that's viral with the serial killer? or
Dahmer.
whatever?
Dahmer, yeah.
Yeah, that one. I feel like a lot of people have
That show
been
makes me
comment-
feel weird.
They've been commenting,
Like it.
yeah, that you feel weird when you
Yeah.
watch it, and
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's like based on
true.
true
True
story,
story.
but like
Mhm.
it's like a lot of people died. I don't know. It's
But
weird.
but it is helpful to like, I guess, know about it.
Mhm.
I remember
Yeah.
I took an AP Psych class during COVID, my 11th year, and we did like a whole chapter on like literally just learning about serial killers. Like it was
Wow.
weird.
Like
Like, we
like
would
the
do-
like real ones.
Yeah, like the
Oh.
real life ones. We did Jeffrey Dahmer, we did Ted Bundy, like all of them.
Ooh.
And I remember like reading about them because she would like go in depth. Like we would learn like what
She's like,
the
what
heck
was in
drove
the
them.
fridge?
No, I mean it was a psychology class, so I mean we learned about like what drove them to do this, their
Yeah,
background,
that
their
is-
life,
yeah.
everything. And I remember reading it, and I'm like, oh my god, like this actually went on.
I definitely understand how, like, super heavy viewers can be like how they can get to the point where they're like, oh my gosh,
I
like,
want to do that.
everyone's against me, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I understand it, because that stuff is like, whoa, it's like, but I also think it's kind of silly. Because, like, at the same time, it is TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And, like, it is entertainment. Like, you're supposed to be like,
Yeah.
No, but there's
and,
people like who actually like like get scared.
yeah.
and like also the
Scary.
people that probably play the characters, like the person that plays Dahmer, like talks about how it was so hard to like.
Are we done already?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Wait, how much time do we have?
It's
I was like, what are you
36
doing?
minutes.
Cool.
36. Okay.
Yeah, we're making really good time.
36?
Yeah, it's good time.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh, I thought you said 36 minutes left. I was like, what?
Right, No. But from there, I think we should lead into media ecology.
Yeah.
Is that
So
the-
that's
Wait,
what-
before we go into media ecology, one last thing about the cultivation theory. So we've been talking a lot about TV, but you guys think the cultivation theory can be used like other than TV, like other forms of media? If so, like
Like
what do y'all
social
think?
media?
That's what I was thinking. I think it's big on social media. But I think what you see on social media, I think social media might have a bigger influence.
Yeah, it
than
has
TV.
definitely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Because we're
TV.
on it like every day.
Yeah,
Because
Especially with
it's
younger
real people
people.
that we're seeing, and then they're making us think that they're living like this
Yeah, this
lifestyle.
perfect
and, like,
lifestyle.
And it's
Mhm.
like, dang.
Yeah, I think you see it a lot, especially with like because the algorithm pushes things like certain things so hard. So like you see trends pop up.
Mhm.
You tell me that's not like a direct influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the
that's-
dancing trends and all that stuff.
Yeah, dancing trend, all the accidents that have. Do you guys remember like the Kiki challenge?
Yes, I
That
do
was-
remember. Yeah, the
Throwback.
very much a
It's been a
throwback.
while.
Yeah.
I forget.
That was
With
like
a car.
Oh!
where you
Yeah.
get out of your car while
Car,
it's
and then
going.
like
Yeah.
you're like
Got it.
dancing
Yep,
and stuff.
remember.
I was thinking that.
I did not
about
know
that
that's what it was
today.
called.
Yeah, and just I guess just stuff like that, like stuff that we didn't have before on TV. Like there was no we're gonna watch Little Rascals challenge
Life was
back in
simpler
the
back then.
50s, you know.
No,
Now we have like a challenge every and that's what I think like social media with the broad range it has, like it's definitely like I think like the cultivation theory should be used a lot more. looking at
Yeah,
social media.
Especially
Yeah.
now.
Especially now, instead of like TV is important because like there's TV shows that are still popular, very popular, but social media is just that's content.
And it's like
Yeah.
you can like you feel more. I feel like it's got more of an influence because it's like it's universal, so anyone can blow up off of any of these things and become like a social media influencer, star, or
Mhm.
whatever.
Now, okay, so talking about like TV and social media and these different types of media platforms, I guess I can go and
Now lead us
send this
into-
to media ecology.
Yeah, because with that, like, you can do the whole thing where it's like, oh, social media.
Okay, we should
That's
wrap
okay.
it up now.
Oh, we
Um,
should just
No,
keep
we
going.
can keep
Yeah,
going.
they-
We have to go.
They can wait.
It's okay.
Anyways,
Media ecology.
Media
Yeah,
ecology, yes.
So
That
you were
goes to,
talking
like-
about how it was objective and interpretive. I remember reading in the book. I have it written down. It says interpretive approach to make objective claims.
Okay.
So I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah. Wait, is that one saying about cultivation or media ecology?
Media ecology.
So it's saying, repeat that one more time.
Because it said in the book it was an interpretive approach to make objective claims.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask her
So-
about
So,
that.
like,
So it
Thinking
is
of many
interpretive,
things.
but it is, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess it like uses the different qualifications for this is just me spitballing, but it uses an interpretive approach like community of agreement, more like gut feeling reaction to make objective claims. So like it makes a prediction, I guess. It uses those different qualifications to like say whether or not the theory is valid would be my guess, but that would anybody else?
I don't understand why they would call it an interpretive theory if it's like making objective claims. Then why not just call it an objective
Yeah.
theory?
Well, because maybe it doesn't have like the qualitative data necessarily to back
That's
it up. So this is just what they went with, which is it's really interesting to think about different theories in that light, and that's kind of the same thing we've been doing when we argue for whether or not a theory is objective or interpretive. Is like
That's
you know, we find applications from one side of the theory to use on the other, and it's like
I definitely think we should ask her about
Yeah,
that.
we'll make a note of that.
Yeah. But media ecology as a whole, like, so cultivation theory was talking more about like the social media, how that affects, like, and influences all of us. But media ecology would be like taking a step back and being like this generation versus like our grandparents, because we have like phones, period, or like laptops, whereas they didn't, and so automatically there's that division, and like they're not going to think the same as us, and they're not going to know a lot of the same trends, obviously, and stuff, because our phones, like, period. Like, thinking back, like, we use our phones, like, we text and email people, but like that was unheard of, like, with our grandparents, because they didn't have the same technology, the same
Yeah.
medium.
And I think we see that a lot with like the different generations kind of feuding with each other, where it's like, you know, millennials, and then like as it goes online, you got boomers and zoomers and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And different generations like have a hard time understanding each other just because the communication landscape is so wildly different because of these different mediums that are being used now, and the different media that's out there, and it's really interesting to look at.
And I think it's cool because it's like, you know how it broke it up into like the different areas of like the tribal era and like the literacy era,
Mhm.
print, electronic, digital, whatever. It's crazy because it's like when you think of stuff like that, when I think of orality, I think of like cavemen. But like it's not even that far back. Like when you break down like these different areas, it breaks up like very, very well, kind of by generation. Like when would we think that the electronic era started?
With the invention of the radio,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Telegraph
probably,
and radio,
yeah, the
right?
radio.
So when was that? Like,
the telegraph had to be like that's 1800, 1700, late 1700s.
1700s.
I think like late is that
Maybe,
wildly
I don't
correct?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But it's crazy thinking
No
like that
history
really like
majors here.
wasn't
No.
that long ago. Yeah, history, not the history class. But I don't know. I just think that's super interesting because it's like I feel like with print, electronic, and digital, like those have been moving like super
Yeah,
fast.
that's what I was gonna say is like how wildly the communication landscape has changed. Even just going from our grandparents to us, it's just like rapidly
boom, boom, boom,
snowballed and evolved
Exactly.
because you have
Whereas,
all
like,
these.
Orality and like literacy, like the orality was like
That's a
up
huge shit. You had
until-
cavemen just like grunting and pointing.
exactly
Grunting.
Bunga bunga.
like banging sticks on tables. Booga booga. But, yeah, like I don't know, like that period was so long,
Oh,
and now it's
God.
like we just advance so much faster, and it really does affect us crazy. Like,
Yeah.
like iPad kids,
iPad.
like they don't know anything but iPads.
Yeah.
I'm scared of them.
Dude,
When I was
honestly.
little, you wouldn't
I was-
see me.
Yeah.
I was
Like,
outside.
I was outside,
I
climbing
was playing with
trees and
roly
I feel bad
playing
for
Hunger
Yes.
Games.
Like,
Me
I didn't get a
too.
phone until
Making
I had a
Empires
DS. I mean,
I had a
that was
DS.
like
that was the closest.
you can have social
Yeah.
media on iPads.
But
so.
you know the crazy thing is like, it's kind of scary. Like, what are our kids gonna be like? Like, how is
Yeah.
that gonna be? Because it's just gonna be a whole nother. Because you know how like
Yeah.
parents and grandparents now are like, oh, back in my day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that for us. It's gonna be like, dude, like this is not.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna make sure my kid goes outside and plays in the leaves
Yes.
and doesn't get on any social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's important for that to happen. All that stuff.
and I think that's probably gonna be some sort of point of one of the
Essay questions.
essay questions.
Probably.
Yeah, about like futuristic. Yeah, the media environment of futuristic classes.
All
I
right.
think we
Okay.
Okay,
I think we
45
have a
minutes.
meeting.
Well, I'm glad.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.